Hello, everyone, and welcome to Concordia University's Fourth Space. Thank you for joining us for today's event, From Academia to Industry, Bridging the Gap in Industrial Engineering. This live episode of the INDU TALKS podcast, which is an ongoing project of the Concordia chapter of the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineering, IISE. To help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube live from Fourth Space, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. Here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to mobilize knowledge by co-creating daily activities to examine research questions and projects in development here at the university. That is enough from us, so we're just going to go ahead and hand it over to our host for the podcast today, third-year industrial engineering student and VP podcast of IISE Concordia chapter, Jose Garcete.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for the Fourth Space for having us here today. Like Jax was saying, my name is Jose Garcete, and I'll be the host for today's podcast. And joining us today in this episode is a very special guest. He's the Associate Dean of Engineering and Academic Programs here at Concordia University. And he brings a wealth of expertise in areas such as simulations, logistics, lean manufacturing, and facilities design. His name is Dr. Akgunduz, and we're very privileged to have him here today. Thank you for being here today, Dr. Akgunduz.
Thank you for the invitation. Great to be here. Excited.
Me too. It's a privilege to be talking to you.
Well,
I really enjoyed your simulation course last semester. It was a lot of fun.
did you do good?
Yes, I think I did well.
You did well, yeah.
It was a really fun experience, and I like that it was a course where you had to actually put in the effort to learn the software. There was no way around it. It's either you knew how to do it or you didn't. So it's a great course.
Hopefully it did work, yeah.
So just to start off, I'd like to ask you, you have multiple years of experience with industrial engineering. When did you first begin to participate in industrial engineering? When did you first begin to study it?
Oh, I studied industrial engineering at my undergraduate studies, and back home, I'm from Turkey, and over there we have centralized university entrance exam, and before you go to the exam, you have to put your list of choices. That is about 18 choices, but this choice includes university and the program. And once you get into the university, you cannot, you can change it, but it's very difficult to change it. So, I was like 16 years old, and I was selecting all those things, and I put a lot of mechanical engineering and so on. I didn't know much about industrial engineering. So I think day before, my older sister came and looked at my choices. He said, oh, mechanical engineering is dying. So I just replaced them with industrial engineering. So here I am, and I have to say that about 2 years at the school, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no clue what industrial engineering is about, and just taking the courses and so on, but it's all introductory courses, just warming up for engineering. But after third and fourth year, I was really happy to choose industrial engineering. Since then, I never regretted it. Yeah, it's, I think it fits very well with my, how do you say that, mindset, I have to say that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I imagine then it's a long time since you were 16.
I'm not that old, come on.
No, that's not what I meant, but no, I appreciate you telling us about your experience. I wanted to ask you then, since you've been in the industry for so long, what do you believe is the core mission of industrial engineering as a discipline, and how has it evolved over the years to meet the demands of modern industries?
Oh, that's a very good question. There's a simple saying, I think, that's something I cited from the previous IISE chapters. They distribute some sort of template to everybody. And engineers make things, industrial engineers make things better. And in that sense, I think our objective is to improve the yield in any kind of setting. It doesn't have to be only manufacturing, but from manufacturing to service, service to mining, and wherever there's a system, our objective is to maximize the yield, and the yield concept can be varying, and today we are focusing more on the environmental, social responsibility, social justice, and so on. In the past, it was more about the money and so on, but it's a combination of all those matters. I think our objective is to improve the system as a whole, and that is our main mission. We analyze the system, look at the holistic picture, and we make sure that everybody is utilized in a humane way, but from input to output, things work in a harmonized way. And I think the lean principles in here explains very well. We just remove the fat from the system. But that doesn't mean the fat should be removed in an inhumane way. And sometimes people are confusing oh yeah, you're just basically making everything efficient, so you're making the people work harder and so on. That is not the concept. The concept is to make sure that the things are moving as it is planned accordingly without creating unnecessary fat in the system. So that is our main objective, I will say.
Have you perceived, it was very interesting what you said, how people misinterpret that the removal of the fat that we try to accomplish as industrial engineers. Have you perceived that people tend to misinterpret it, and can you give us like an example of that, maybe?
Well, usually as soon as you try to improve the system, there is a resistance, and mostly comes from the workers and so on. Everybody thinks that improving the system is going to take their jobs away and so on. And Toyota is one of the companies I really admire, and I have to say that the industrial engineering literature in general, heavily influenced by the Toyota experience. And when we look at the Toyota, I mean, workers in general in that culture, doesn't matter where they are, even in the United States and so on, usually they are very happy, not only the workers. If you look at the Toyota, even the suppliers and so on, working with Toyota, they trust the company, and they are really basically emerging with the company, and they're working together because they know whatever Toyota does, it is helping the entire system, entire ecosystem, including the workers. But that doesn't mean there's no abuse or something. I mean, certainly sometimes the companies are looking for the short-term objectives, and where there are, but those are not, in my opinion, industrial engineering approaches. Rather, basically, it is playing with the numbers sometimes. I mean, that has nothing to do with industrial engineering. So when we are teaching the lean principles at the university, it is very clearly stated that the objective is not to remove the people, to make sure that the people are utilized with their full potentials.
Okay, that's very interesting to hear. We're just beginning the course right now on lean manufacturing, and Dr. Onur, I believe his name is, he was talking about how Toyota was one of the leaders in lean manufacturing, and actually the person behind it was the person who created it. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to hear also your input into that as well. I also wanted to ask you, one of your focuses, one of your areas is teaching courses like simulation, logistics, and lean manufacturing, as well as overseeing our curriculum development here at Concordia University, as you are the Associate Dean. How do you prepare students to transition from academic learning to applying these concepts that you teach them in a professional setting?
I think university is the collective of all those courses, plus including the extracurricular activities, but the lab works and the project works and so on. And as an associate dean, I have been promoting more projects to be integrated into courses, but I am also more closely working with industrial engineering. I think with industrial engineering traditionally, since I joined to the university 20-something years ago, I mean, almost all of our third and the fourth year courses have projects, and it's really important. Sometimes both students and the industry expects our students to, just go to internships and have class projects related to industry and so on, but sometimes we have to be really practical, and finding a company for each student or each group and so on, it may not be always, impossible. but still I think we can bring realistic cases to students, and I think that is something we have been doing very well in industrial engineering. Most of our courses have projects, and these projects are, in my opinion, able to show the students how they will be applying their skills at the workplace. It is really important, otherwise just teaching the students the math and the physics and so on, and it just stays up in the air. And I think students have to see, even if it is a basic knowledge, how that basic knowledge is going to be incorporated into something tangible, value-added product, right? And for that one, we have been really promoting other programs as well to introduce more and more project courses. And the capstone also, over the years, we changed and we provided quite a bit financial support, and both not financial support only, but also the technical support as well. And we are still improving. I think the capstone projects last 5-6 years has improved significantly. And another thing I'm really happy is the more entrepreneurial ideas are coming from the capstone projects. That is also showing that our students are able to really put together their skills towards basically some sort of solution, engineering solution for society to use. And I think these are basically the basic things we can do and we should continue doing at the university level. And also working with the alumni. I think we can do better. And I know IISE and some other basically student organizations are closely working with the alumni, and we university as a whole working with alumni as well. We can do better. I think the alumni, and one day you guys will be alumni of the university as well, they are eager to come back and provide their expertise, and they work with our students and so on. Sometimes I think everybody is busy, I do understand, and that reaching out is not sufficient enough, in my opinion, obviously. And we can do better. And they can come to our classes, give lectures, or just guide the students with case studies and so on. We should be doing more of those things, in my opinion.
Yeah, this reminds me of the project that we had last semester in simulations, which was a very big project. But I learned so much about how to apply what you were teaching us in the course to a real life situation. The modeling of the airports, it was a very interesting project, and I completely agree with you, and it says a lot of good things about the faculty. If over the years you see improvement in capstone, that's good to hear that.
Well, students always think that because of my background in airline, they think that I'm focusing on the airline, but that is not the real reason, because I know you guys can find data. You see, basically, sometimes it is easier to give some sort of projects relevant to airlines because the data is mostly available in the internet or some other sources. Yeah.
You have background with airlines? I did not know that.
Yeah, I used to work for United Airlines.
Okay, interesting. That's very cool. I wanted to move on to the next question. So what kind of roles and responsibilities do you see industrial engineers taking on in today's workforce, especially in areas like simulation, logistics, lean manufacturing, and facilities design?
Well, not only that, I mean, from finance to mining, everywhere, healthcare, the healthcare is the big thing. I mean, we are already present, and certainly we will continue present in those domains. And one thing, I mean, all the engineers have to really pick up a little bit more about data analytics and AI, usage of AI and so on, but industrial engineers even more. They have to train themselves in those areas a little bit further, because the supply chain is supply chain, but I think how you capture the data and analyze the data and incorporate that into your decision making is going to be even more and more important in the future. So I think as industrial engineers, you have to find ways to train yourself a little bit more on those. And today, honestly, there are a lot of sources available. For example, if you know Python a little bit, Python has a lot of libraries where you can use different data analytic techniques, machine learning techniques, and so on. You don't have to really be an expert in those things. You can easily use it. And the same thing with the Google. The Google have a lot of APIs and so on. I think our students should just at least be aware of those things. And because you guys already know programming, some simulation, and operation research as well. And now you can expand those basically basic knowledge we provide in here and try to just be more flexible what you can bring at the table. And from there, I think industrial engineers is really lucky because we are not relying on only one particular discipline or some sort of business area to work. As I said, many of our students went to healthcare. I know a lot of people went to banking and
consulting too.
Well, consulting is the very natural. I totally agree with you. I think the Concordia University had done great improvement on that thing. I think the consulting companies really appreciate with our students, and maybe 20 years ago, a couple of them were getting into the consulting, but now like tens of our students jumping into consulting businesses. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what would you advise, knowing about all these projects that we do throughout our career here at Concordia when we do industrial engineering, what would you advise the students to say when talking to a professional? How can they really demonstrate to the professional in a networking event, for example, that an industrial engineer can work everywhere? Like, what's something that very important that you would recommend for us to highlight?
Well, I always tell the students the projects you are doing, and then make sure that basically you can just pitch those projects in a couple words simply, and just show the people that, yeah, you see, this is what I did, from IT development to basic system simulation or supply chain management and so on. But sometimes, I don't know, I mean, why it is in this era, explaining what industrial engineers do is still difficult. I do understand that still. It's not like mechanical engineering, everybody understand. But I think we have to basically, I don't know if in a manufacturing environment or some of the particular areas, do we really need to explain ourselves? I'm not sure, but the small companies and so on, that may still be a need. I mean, we are systems engineering. We look at the whole system and we try to basically make sure every entity in that system work in a harmonized way for the well-being of that institution or that organization. This is from healthcare to finance to what is that thing, the retail businesses and so on. And if we make the things basically function better, function with minimum resources, but in an efficient way. That is our job, just to improve the efficiency in the entire system.
Sort of like the maestro of an orchestra, leading on the...
I wouldn't get in that one. That becomes like, I mean, we did the same thing back in our undergraduate days, okay? Who's going to be manager? Who's going to be basically running the fact? Everybody has its own role, but our role is just, for example, mechanical engineers, let's say in theoretical sense, they design a product. In our case, we make that product with the resources available to us.
Okay.
You see, that is our job basically. Doctors perform different operations, but our job in the healthcare system, everything will be at the right place at the right time, so the doctors wouldn't have to basically look around what to do, when to do, how to do the things. So we make sure that everything is available to the doctor on time in a right moment, and their time is valuable, so we make sure that they are just not basically waiting for the patients for unnecessarily because somebody did a wrong appointment scheduling and so on. Right. Or you don't just schedule the nurses in the wrong timing or something. You know, if you make those kind of mistakes, you will just lose the valuable time forever, because if you are just idle for 20 minutes at some point, that time you will never capture it basically. That 20 minutes is idle and lost forever. Our objective is to minimize those lost times in our businesses.
Okay, that's super interesting to hear. I'm very eager to apply these things in a professional setting.
Well, you will.
Yeah. So moving on to the last question here. As the field of industrial engineering continues to evolve, what trends or advancements do you think will have the biggest impact in the coming years? And how can we as industrial engineers meet the changing demands of these industries that are changing?
Well, I mean, rather than the industries, one thing is here, we like it or not, the AI.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is using the ChatGPT or basically some other evolving technologies or the solutions. Now the question is not only for industrial engineers, but for entire engineers, how are we gonna coexist with AI, but the society will still need your expertise? From that sense, I think we really have to improve ourselves as professions, as engineers, and in 20, 30 years down the road, a society still needs the talent of engineers. And for example, when the calculators came, and it's like, you don't have to solve all those big equations, but that doesn't mean calculators just remove a lot of basically jobs out there. Just we learn how to work with the calculator, same thing computer, same thing. Now MATLAB, this and that, all those different tools came, or the CAD softwares, for example, simulation softwares. And when those came, and what happened is they didn't take our jobs away. They just provide the support. And AI is the same thing, and moving forward, how can we basically adapt ourselves and we can guide the AI to make the things more efficiently along with us. So that is something we really have to. Other than that, I think the more and more companies are going to adopt AI. And that is something, doesn't matter what we are doing, is already, we are seeing it in the, what is that thing, the retail industry, companies like Amazon and so on. 10 years ago, you wait several days for your package to come. Now, I mean, anything you order, half hour later, they can deliver to your home. And that kind of sophistication requires a lot of data analytics. And same thing with the similar approaches can be implemented in the healthcare systems and so on. You may actually predict when the patient is going to come exactly this, you know. And those kind of things is really important. And we industrial engineers have to really learn how to look around and capture the data and utilize the data in a more efficient way, so we can really know when to do the things, where to do the things, and so on, how to make the decisions at the end.
Okay, it's very good to hear. It's very interesting. So that's all we have for today, Dr. Akgunduz.
Well,
thank you so much for being here. It was a true privilege to be talking to you. And
no, the privilege is mine. It was really interesting. Thanks for the questions, and it is always stressful. You never know what kind of questions are going to come, so it was really nice to chatting with you.
No, you too. I hope we can see each other again soon.
Well, we will.
And keep talking about industrial engineering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming into Fourth Space today for this conversation. We will be going ahead, closing up the Zoom and the live stream, but a quick reminder that this conversation is already available on our YouTube channel if you'd like to revisit or share it. Please join us here again at Fourth Space in the future, and make sure you tune in to future IISE podcasts. All right, have a wonderful afternoon.